Ruth Bader Ginsburg is dead. Nobody wished her any harm, but the reality is, what the irreality is, she was not a good justice. In fact, the woman was unethical. Let me be blunt. She sat on cases where her husband owned shares of stock in parties before the Supreme Court. That's unbelievable, frankly. And of course, the rules don't apply to the Supreme Court. They apply to everybody else, but not to the Supreme Court. I, for one, don't put too much emphasis in the Supreme Court. If it makes decisions which are contrary to the Constitution or which subvert the rule of law, in my opinion, the American people are free to disobey those decisions. So to view them as God, unelected officials, people who are put there for life, so they think, well, they'll get my new book, It Takes a Revolution. Frankly, they are not there for life. That's a misnomer. That's been perpetrated over the years. They can serve for good behavior. Congress can cut back their terms. For instance, 2 renewable terms is just one example, 5 years each, renewable for good behavior. They're not there for life. And they should not have immunity. They need to be held accountable for their decision making. Supreme Court is not God. So consequently, all the fighting over the Supreme Court, to me, Larry Klayman, means very little. But I will tell you this, the Democrats are really going to do more than shoot themselves in the foot if they make good on their threat to slow down the confirmation process past the election by again impeaching President Trump or threatening now to pack the court by putting in a nuclear option, a majority control. So they're going to add 4, so they threaten, new leftist judges. By the way, I don't use the word liberal, it's leftist. Liberal is too kind. Liberal in European countries and in Canada means conservative, leftist. That's what they're threatening to do. So the world is upside down. Coronavirus is continuing on. The Democrats are going to play fun and games. Of course, the Republicans play fun and games too, of course. They're hypocrites, yes. But you know what? If you got the power, use it. But in any event, I don't view the Supreme Court as the be-all and end-all in this country. If they make decisions that are contrary to law, man's law or God's law, ignore them, frankly. And that's what's going to happen because the country is breaking away from any form of government. I don't want to see violence. I want to see a peaceful and legal revolution. So get my book, which is called It Takes a Revolution. Forget the scandal industry. Forget the Sean Hannitys. Forget the Cuomos. Forget others. And get up off the couch and do your job. Now, we also have other things hanging over the horizon. The United States is imposing more sanctions on Iran. The rest of the world, of course, won't follow. Iran's threatening to kill U.S. leaders. You know, I say, I don't want to see U.S. leaders killed, obviously, but make our day, Iran. It's time that they are removed. It's time that the cockroaches that they are removed from this earth. I'm talking about the regime, not the Iranian people. And this is something which, again, is cosmetic. The Iranians already have nuclear weapons. They probably purchased them from the Russians years ago when the Soviet Union collapsed. They are a threat to world peace. And thank God we now have the semblance of maybe some order in the Middle East with Bahrain and with the United Arab Emirates signing agreements with Israel. We'll see what happens. But it's time to eliminate Iran. And that's the reason why these Arab countries are actually throwing their lot with Israel, because Iran is a threat to them as well. One thing about the Arab world, they hate each other as much as they hate Christians and Jews almost. And that's going to be their undoing, much like the Democrats are going to have their undoing. And then, of course, we have law and order. And we have Attorney General Bill Barr, again, doing cosmetic stuff, designating certain cities as anarchist zones. So federal aid will be withheld. Well, they shouldn't have federal aid to begin with, but withholding federal aid is going to make no difference. It's time for the president to man up, do what Alan Keyes on our radio show about a week ago said. Under our Insurrection Act, I don't know I forget the exact name of it, the president can take control of local law enforcement, among others, if indeed local officials and state officials are refusing to act. And that's what the president needs to do. So again, I urge him to do that. As far as the coronavirus is concerned, China continues to devastate this country and the world. Your Freedom Watch has class actions in Dallas, Texas, in Jerusalem, Israel. The case in Israel is moving very quickly. We're going to have a default judgment very, very soon. In Texas, American courts, American judges. We'll see what happens there, but see if you can qualify for that class action. Go to freedomwatchusa.org. I'm confident we'll break through eventually. Clearly, a new person came forward last week, a Chinese scientist who worked in that Wuhan lab, and she testified, in effect, on TV that it is a bioweapon, so no immunity. We have the right to bring suit. We're doing it. Again, the Justice Department is not doing it. And the Justice Department continues to threaten antitrust actions against Google and the rest of social media. I haven't seen anything. They were supposed to do that by the end of September. It's now almost the end of September. And this is why you need to join Freedom Watch's Justice League, because we are your Justice Department. You have no Justice Department. And frankly, you have no government either. The country is left dangling right now. And you see the stock market crashing as we speak on this Monday, the 21st of September. And that's why, because it is perceived that this country is spinning wildly out of control. The American people need to take action. They need to get a grip. They need to assume control themselves. Set an example, lead, follow, or get out of the way. So go purchase my book. It Takes a Revolution. It's not like any other book out there on the market. It's available for pre-order. We just don't say elect President Trump and everything will be solved, because it won't. Even if Larry Klayman personally will vote for him and hopes that he wins, because frankly, the alternative is a total disaster to brain dead Joseph Biden. More than brain dead. Brain dead and stupid even when he wasn't brain dead. So God bless you. God bless America. Stay safe. Go to freedomwatchusa.org. Sign up for our Justice League. Pre-order my book, It Takes a Revolution, Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, booksamillion.com, Borders.com, all of them, because it will give you the roadmap to how we can start bringing our country back from an anarchistic state run by a bunch of morons in Washington, D.C. I'll be back tomorrow with another special edition of our podcast. Until then, thank you for listening to me.
O'Reilly.
This is Derek's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
After the third time jump-starting my car, I finally realized my battery was dying. So I stopped by O'Reilly to have it checked. They tested it right there in the parking lot. It was bad, real bad. But they helped me find the right battery for my car and even installed it for free. Now my car starts like new.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly.
This is Derek's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
After the third time jump-starting my car, I finally realized my battery was dying. So I stopped by O'Reilly to have it checked. They tested it right there in the parking lot. It was bad, real bad. But they helped me find the right battery for my car and even installed it for free. Now my car starts like new.